We've all seen homeless people all over the world in every city, but have you ever seen a homeless $100 bill? Hi, I'm Robert Christopher. Welcome back to Conscious Creator. So today we're going to talk about what consumes most people's entire world, money, but more importantly, the illusion of money. It is the thing people wake up for, stress over, structure their entire lives around. But what if I told you that money isn't actually real? Not in the way that you think. You can't eat it. You can't breathe it. You cannot build reality from it without collective agreement. Money is not a natural law. It is an artificial means of currency. It is a human construct, an idea, a system of belief that only has power because we all agree that it does. That's it. So think about that. If everyone in this earthly realm woke up tomorrow and no longer believed in money, what would it be? Just paper, just numbers on a screen, meaningless. So the real question isn't what is money? The real question is why do people believe in it so deeply? Because belief is what gives money its power. That's it. And belief can be shaped. It can be conditioned and directed. Money, as we use it today, is not just a tool for exchange. It is a psychological system, one that operates through fear, scarcity, comparison, and perceived lack. From a young age, most people are taught that there is not enough. You have to compete. You have to struggle. You have to earn your worth. So now slowly, without even realizing it, their entire relationship to reality becomes filtered through scarcity. Now step back and look at the system. If you can keep large populations focused on survival, fear of losing money, fear of not having enough, then where is all of their attention going? Not to awareness, not on creation, not on understanding themselves, but rather on chasing. And a person who is always chasing is way easier to control than a person who understands consciousness. This is where money becomes more than currency. It becomes a control mechanism, not through force, but rather through perception. Because when people believe their survival depends on something external, they will now organize their entire lives around it. They will trade their time, their energy, their attention, even their values, just to feel secure. But here's the deeper layer most people never question. What if money is not just a system, but rather a replacement, a substitute for something far more important and fundamental? What if, instead of being connected to an internal source, what some would call the soul, or the 0 point, the all-knowing origin of awareness, what if humanity has been conditioned to seek value outside of itself? To measure worth in numbers instead of alignment, to seek security in currency instead of consciousness. Crazy. Because if you can disconnect people from their internal source and replace it with an external system, now you can create dependency. And dependency creates control. Now here's where things shift, because if money is a construct and its power comes from belief, then your relationship to money is not fixed, right? But rather it's programmable. So instead of seeing money as something scarce, something you chase, something you fight for, you can begin to see it differently, more so as a reflection, or even more importantly, as a frequency, because everything that you experience, including money, passes through your perception. And your perception is shaped by your beliefs, your emotional state, your sense of identity. And if your sense of identity, if you operate from lack, you reinforce lack. If you operate from fear, you reinforce scarcity. But if you now start to shift into abundance, clarity, self-trust, your actions change. your decisions change, and now your opportunities change. This is not about pretending money does not exist. It's more so about understanding what money actually is. It is a system. It's a tool. It is a shared agreement, not the source of your value. Because the moment you believe my worth is tied to money, you give the system power over you. But the moment you realize my value is internal and money is external, you now begin to reclaim that power. And this is why the illusion of money is so effective, because it doesn't need to be forced. It is maintained through belief, through conditioning, through repetition. People don't need to be controlled physically anymore if they are controlled psychologically. If they believe, I need this to survive, I can't function without it, I am less without it, then the system kind of runs itself. But awareness changes everything. Because once you see the structure and understand it, you are no longer unconsciously inside of it. You still operate in the real world, you still use money, but you don't worship it. You don't fear it. You don't define yourself by it. Now you begin to act from alignment, not anxiety, from clarity, not conditioning. And when enough individuals, this is important, so when enough individuals shift their relationship to money, the system now itself begins to lose a psychological grip on society. Not because money disappears, but because its power over the human mind dissolves. So the real question isn't, how do I get more money? The real question is, what do I believe about money? And where did that belief come from? Because money in itself is neutral. But the meaning that we attach to it, that's where the control is. And that's also where your freedom begins. Think about it, folks. Thanks for joining us. I'm grateful for all of you. This is Conscious Creator. Stay conscious, stay present. Love is powerful, love is active. As above, so below. And don't forget, follow the rabbit. Thanks.